The lake house confession: I met the man I was going to destroy on a Tuesday. If you asked anyone else at Sterling and Cole, they'd say that's dramatic. They'd tell you Ethan Cole was charming and brilliant and good under pressure. They'd say I was lucky to be his fiancé, lucky to be made partner at 34 and lucky to have the corner office with the river view. They'd be wrong on all three counts. Because on that Tuesday afternoon, as I stood in the glass-walled conference room watching the city smear itself against the windows, I opened an anonymous email and learned three things in the space of 14 seconds. 1. Ethan had been lying to me for years. 2. I had been set up to take the fall for his crimes. 3. Whoever sent the email wanted me very, very alive. The subject line was harmless, for your eyes only. The sender was an untraceable string of letters. The body contained one sentence and 4 attachments. He didn't just cheat on you. He used you. The attachments were PDFs, copies of internal memos, off-book transfer authorizations, falsified compliance certifications. Every single one had my digital signature at the bottom. Every single one was tied to accounts I had never seen before. But the last attachment wasn't a document. It was a photograph. Ethan, sitting in a restaurant I recognized, leaning toward a woman in a red dress I'd never seen before. His hand on her thigh. Her lips just a breath away from his. The date stamp was from 6 weeks ago, the same night he told me he was in London meeting with investors. Red dress, warm light, his face soft in a way it had never been with me. I stared at the screen until the words blurred and the image swam. The noise of the office around me washed into a distant buzz, phones, printers, the faint hiss of the espresso machine down the hall. I felt my heart doing something slow and unfamiliar. Not breaking. Crystallizing. The conference room door opened. There you are, Ethan said, like he hadn't just detonated my life in 4 attachments. We're on in 5. You ready to convince the board we're worth saving? I closed my laptop. Then I smiled at the man I used to love and decided he was going to lose everything. If you want to understand how this started, you have to know who I was before the email. My name is Nora Vale. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat, the air always smelling like detergent and steam. My mother worked nights at the hospital. My father worked nowhere, unless you count the bar stool on the corner as employment. I learned early that love could be loud and cruel and vanish for days at a time. I learned to depend on numbers, not people. Numbers behaved. People didn't. I was the first in my family to go to college, first to wear a blazer that wasn't from a thrift store. I put myself through law school working as a clerk, sleeping 4 hours a night, memorizing securities regulations the way other people memorized songs. The first time I saw Ethan, I was 28 and exhausted. He walked into the firm's lobby like he owned the air. Tall, expensive suit, dark hair, smile you could hang a brand campaign on. He just bought a controlling stake in Sterling and Cole, rescuing us from the brink of collapse. We all knew his name before he stepped off the elevator. Ethan Cole, tech prodigy, venture capitalist, the man who turned a failing payment platform into a billion-dollar unicorn in 3 years. He gave a speech about vision and resilience and building something that would outlast us all. It was the kind of speech that makes people forget to check the math. Afterward, when everyone else swarmed him, I went back to my desk and finished reviewing a 100-page filing. I didn't think he'd notice me. He did. 3 weeks later he stopped by my cubicle with 2 coffees and my resume in his hand. You graduated top of your class, he said. You clerked for Judge Marshall. Why are you still buried in discovery? I like discovery, I said. He laughed. You like hiding? There's a difference. He offered me a promotion, then a mentorship, then a drink. I said yes to all 3. Love didn't hit me like lightning. It seeped in slowly, as things with Ethan always did. A joke in an elevator, a hand on my lower back steering me through a crowded fundraiser, a late-night strategy call that turned into watching the sun rise from his penthouse balcony. He told me I made him better. He said he'd never trusted anyone the way he trusted me. He put my name on deals, invited me into rooms I'd fought my whole life to reach. He proposed 2 years later on that same balcony, the city glittering below, a ring in his hand I couldn't stop staring at. Nora Vale, he said, voice soft for once, build the rest of this with me? I said yes. Of course I said yes. I said yes to the man who would later forge my signature and rearrange my life like a chessboard. I said yes to the man I would learn to hate. Sterling's on fire, Ethan said, dropping into the chair next to me as the board filtered into the conference room. Metaphorically. For now. He handed me the presentation remote. You're leading, he added. Me? I said. My own voice sounded distant in my ears. They trust you. You're the one who cleaned up the Barrow mess. You're the face of compliance. You walked them through the restructuring proposals. I'll play the visionary in the Q&A, eh? He brushed his fingers over my hand. To anyone watching, we were a power couple in perfect sync. The firm's golden pair. My laptop sat closed on the table in front of me, anonymous emails still burning at the back of my mind like a brand. Love, betrayal, revenge. People talk about those things like separate rooms you enter one after another. They're not. They're layers of the same moment. I loved Ethan when I opened that email. I hated him by the second attachment. By the end of the fourth, revenge had slid into the empty place where love used to live. The board meeting went as planned. I stood, clicked through slides, walked the gray-haired men and women through debt restructuring, equity consolidation, asset divestitures. I watched them nod, saw their relief when they realized they weren't going to lose everything. Ethan chimed in when needed, smooth and confident. No one in that room looked at him and saw a man capable of betrayal. No one but me. Afterward, when the room emptied and the glass door clicked shut behind the last director, Ethan turned to me, eyes bright. You were incredible, he said. That last part on regulatory oversight? You probably saved us $5 million in fines. I watched him for a beat. Ethan, I said, where were you 6 weeks ago? The night you said you were in London? He didn't flinch. That investor dinner at St. James, he said immediately. Why? I stared at him and thought, you're good. Too good. No reason, I said. Just lining up timelines for the audit team. He nodded, relaxed. Let's celebrate tonight. Just us. No clients, no board, no phones. He leaned in to kiss me. I let him. If revenge is a blade, patience is how you sharpen it. Revenge isn't just about what you do. It's about who you trust to help you do it. The anonymous sender became my starting point. If someone was feeding me information, I needed to know why. I forwarded the email to my private account, then wiped all traces of it from my work laptop. At home, in pajamas with my hair piled up and the city lights blinking outside my windows, I opened it again. The metadata was scrubbed. Whoever sent it knew how to cover their tracks. But they'd made one mistake. Inside one of the PDFs, in the document properties, there was a creator tag. A username. J. Lawson. I knew one Lawson at the firm. Jamie Lawson, senior forensic accountant, the kind of woman who could find a missing cent in a billion-dollar transaction, make you feel stupid for not seeing it yourself. She was also the only person who'd ever warned me about Ethan. That man doesn't do anything that doesn't benefit him, she'd said once over coffee, eyes flicking to where he was laughing with a client across the lobby. Be careful, Nora. At the time I'd chalked it up to cynicism. Now I wondered if it was experience. The next morning, I waited until Jamie left her office, then slipped inside. I moved quickly, closing the door, heading for her bookshelf where she kept binders of old reports. I wasn't there for the paperwork. I was there for her computer. Her desktop was locked, but a yellow sticky note on the monitor gave away the password. Logiclemon88. I shook my head. Smart people did the dumbest things. I slid into the chair, opened her email, and typed my own name into the search bar. Results appeared instantly, internal reports I knew about, and 3 messages I didn't. The most recent was dated 2 weeks ago. From J. Lawson to self-subject, bail, coal flag. Pattern suggests Ethan funneling exposure onto Nora. Need proof before approach. Watch closely. My stomach clenched. Another email from a month ago. He's moving money again. Offshore shells tied to accounts with her signature. Either she's in on it, or she's the target. The oldest one was the shortest. If I disappear, it's because I got too close. A shadow fell across the desk. Enjoying the light reading? Jamie said. I spun in the chair. She stood in the doorway, coffee in one hand, keycard in the other, eyes sharp. I can explain, I said. No need. She stepped inside, closed the door, and locked it. I figured you'd be here sooner or later. She walked around the desk and set her coffee down. You got the email, she said. Good. We don't have much time. Why didn't you come to me directly? I asked. Because I didn't know if you were part of it. She sat on the edge of the desk, arms crossed. Now I do. You look like someone who's just discovered their fiancé is a sociopath, not a co-conspirator. My throat tightened at the word. Fiancé. The ring on my finger felt suddenly obscene. What do you know? I asked. Enough to put Ethan away for a long time, she said. If we don't get crushed first. She grabbed a folder from the shelf and slapped it on the desk. Start here. Inside were printouts of wire transfers, shell companies, consulting contracts that smelled like fraud. My name appeared on almost every single one. He's been building this for years, Jamie said. Slowly. Carefully. Moving dirty money through clean accounts. Yours. I never signed these, I whispered. I know. But the SEC won't. The board won't. Not at first. How do we stop it? She smiled, thin and humorless. We don't stop it. We reverse it. Revenge is part math, part theater. The math, you map out every account, every transfer, every lie. You trace the money, identify pressure points, build a case so airtight it can suffocate. The theater, you decide when and how the truth comes out. You stage the reveal so your target can't wriggle out through charm or improvisation. For 3 weeks, I played my part. I went to work. I had dinner with Ethan. I kissed him on the cheek before he left for late meetings I now knew were rendezvous with other women, other criminals. At night, I sat at my kitchen table with Jamie, our laptops open, the glow of spreadsheets flickering across our faces. We built our case. First, we proved the signatures were forged. Jamie found subtle inconsistencies in the pressure points, the angle of strokes, even the pixelation of my digital sign-off. Nothing a casual observer would notice, but enough for an expert witness to testify to in court. Next, we followed the money. The shell companies led to an offshore trust in the Caymans. That trust led to another, this one tied to a name we both knew too well. Sterling, Jamie said quietly. Cormac Sterling. My throat went dry. You're sure? I asked. She turned the laptop toward me. The Caymans Trust metadata stared back. Beneficiary, C. Sterling Irrevocable Sub-Trustee. Your founding partner isn't just looking the other way, Jamie said. He's standing right in the middle of it. I sat back in my chair. The room felt smaller. So this isn't just Ethan, I said. This is the man who hired him. The man who rescued the firm. Jamie nodded. He brought Ethan in because he needed someone brilliant, ambitious, and disposable to move money for him. Someone who could attract attention while he stayed in the shadows. And I was the insurance policy, I said. The clean signature. The first sacrificial lamb. Exactly. The idea of going to Sterling for help, of placing that neat, damning folder on his desk like I'd planned, dissolved like smoke. Then who do we go to? I asked. Jamie closed the laptop. Someone who scares even them, she said. We go outside the building. Not everyone wakes up knowing the name of a white-collar crime prosecutor at the Department of Justice. Jamie did. Old roommate, she said, when I asked. We studied together. She went government, I went private. I like money. She likes taking it away from people who misuse it. She typed quickly, fingers flying over the keyboard, encrypting files, layering passwords. When she finished, she slid a USB drive toward me. This is the clean version, she said. Only the essentials. No conjecture, just facts. Every forged signature, every shell, every wire. Enough to make them listen. And the messy version? I asked. She tapped her laptop. stays with me. I turned the USB over in my fingers. It looked flimsy, too small a thing to topple men like Ethan and Cormac Sterling. Will she believe us? I asked. Jamie shrugged. She won't believe you. She'll believe the numbers. That, at least, made sense. Her name is Priya Desai, Jamie said. She's in New York now. I'll set up a meet, off book. But you have to understand, Nora, once we involve her, this stops being our game. What does it become? A war. I didn't see Ethan for 2 days. He texted, of course. Ethan. Bored in meltdown mode. Sterling wants us in all hands crisis control. You okay? I stared at the message. Once, I would have sent a heart emoji back. A joke. A reassurance. Now I typed, busy with audit prep. Call you later. I didn't add a kiss. He responded with a thumbs up. It looked wrong on the screen, too casual for the damage he'd done. That night, as I walked from the parking garage to my building, headlights flared behind me, too close and too bright. An engine growled. I moved aside on instinct, just in time to keep from being clipped by a black sedan that swung too near the sidewalk. The car braked hard, tires screeching, then sped off. I stood there, heart pounding, watching its shape disappear. Probably nothing, I muttered. But the next morning, I found a note under my apartment door. No envelope. No signature. Stop digging or you're next. I took a photo. I did not throw it away. Jamie swore under her breath when she saw it. We're getting close, she said. Or we're already too close, I replied. We met her in a coffee shop that tried too hard, plants hanging from the ceiling, exposed brick, baristas with tattoos and PhDs. She sat in a back corner with a laptop and a legal pad, dark hair twisted into a knot, blazer thrown over the back of her chair. Priya Desai looked exactly like the kind of woman who could make a CEO cry without raising her voice. Jamie, she said, standing to hug her. This better be worth the risk. My boss thinks I'm at yoga. It's better than yoga, Jamie said. It's a slow-motion explosion. Priya turned to me. Nora. The almost sacrificial lamb. I prefer former, I said. She smiled, just a little. Let's keep it that way. We spent an hour walking her through the scheme. She asked few questions, but when she did, they were precise and sharp. When I slid the USB drive across the table, she plugged it in without ceremony. As she reviewed, her expression barely changed. Only the tightness around her eyes betrayed anything. When she finally spoke, her voice was quiet. This is very good work, she said. Terrifying, but good. Will you take it? I asked. Priya looked at me over the laptop. I don't take cases, she said. I take scalps. And this, she tapped the drive, has 2 very presentable heads attached. Ethan Cole and Cormac Sterling, Jamie said. And whoever's in the red dress, Priya added. She's not just a side piece. She's signing some of these as an officer in the shells. I can pull her real identity. So what happens now? I asked. Now, Priya said, you keep doing what you're doing. Go to work. Smile at your fiancé. Pretend nothing's wrong. And you? I asked. I start quietly nudging the right agencies, she said. This kind of case needs coordination, SEC, IRS, DOJ. No one likes that. Everyone wants credit. But the evidence is solid. Once they smell blood, they'll move. Will they move fast enough? I asked. Priya held my gaze. That depends on how scared Ethan gets, she said. Cornered men make mistakes. Sometimes they get sloppy. Sometimes they get violent. She slid a card toward me. A direct number, no email. If he does anything that feels even slightly off? She said. You call me. Immediately. Ethan showed up at my apartment door 3 nights later with flowers and takeout and a smile that used to mean home. Surprise, he said. I know I've been buried. Sterling's been breathing down my neck. I thought. Maybe we could reconnect. I could smell the food, my favorite Thai place, the one with the good curry and the bad lighting. It twisted something in my chest. You could have texted, I said. I wanted to see your face when I told you, he replied. Tell me what? He lifted the bag. I booked the lake house this weekend. Just us. No phones, no board, no crisis. We haven't been up there in a year. The lake house. The one he'd bought as a surprise. The one I'd once thought we'd fill with kids and dogs and lazy Sunday mornings. Every instinct screamed that this was wrong. But he'd picked a location with no witnesses and spotty cell service. A place he controlled. A perfect place for an accident. Come on, he said, stepping a little closer. We've both been drowning. We need this. I forced myself to smile. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Jamie nearly choked when I told her. You're going? She demanded. Yes, I said. And you're going to make sure I walk back out. Redundancy, Jamie said, pacing my living room. That's how we survive people like Ethan. He thinks in terms of leverage. We'll think in terms of fail-safes. She connected her laptop to my TV, pulling up a simple interface. This is a timed release, she said. I upload the full, messy version of the case files to 3 separate destinations, Priya, an SEC contact, and, just for fun, a financial reporter who hates Sterling and Amp, Cole. She clicked, typed. Once you get to the lake house, you send me a text. That starts a 12-hour countdown. And if I don't turn it off by then? I asked. Everything goes out, she said. All at once. So if he kills me, I said slowly, he destroys himself too. Exactly, Jamie said. You become the worst possible liability to remove. It was twisted. Elegant. Effective. I exhaled. What if he just tries to scare me? I asked. Or manipulate me into signing something? Then you record him, Jamie said. She slid a tiny device across the table. Audio, video, both. Tap here to start. Once. Don't fumble with it. Don't look at it. Just let it be. She hesitated. Nora. If at any point it feels like too much, I shook my head. This started with him, I said. It ends with me. The house was as beautiful as I remembered. Pine trees. Dark water. A deck that wrapped around the front like a stage. In another life, I might have felt nostalgic. In this one, I felt like I was walking into a set. Ethan seemed relaxed. Too relaxed. He took my bag from the car, brushed a kiss across my hair, pointed out the stars as if we were a normal couple escaping the city. The board finally calmed down, he said as we walked inside. Sterling's excited about some new restructuring opportunities. I almost laughed. Is that what we're calling fraud these days? I asked. He didn't notice the edge in my voice. Inside, the house was warm. Fire in a stone hearth. Wine breathing on the counter. The scent of something roasting in the oven. You cooked? I asked, genuinely thrown. He grinned. Don't look so surprised. I can follow a recipe. Sometimes. For a while, we played our old roles. We ate. We talked about safe things, cases, colleagues, the city. The normalcy was so convincing that there were moments I almost forgot why we were there. Almost. I waited until after dessert, when the plates were cleared and the fire had burned down to embers, to ask the question I'd been circling. Ethan, I said, what would you do if everything we built went away? He frowned slightly. Why would you ask that? Hypothetically, I said. If the board turned on you. If the regulators did. If someone tried to burn you down from the inside out. He leaned back, studying me. I'd find out who was behind it, he said. And I'd make sure they understood what a mistake they'd made. Would you destroy them? I asked. His smile was small and precise. I don't believe in half measures, he said. I tapped the recorder in my pocket with one finger, barely a brush. On. He suggested a nightcap on the deck. I agreed, stepping out into the cool air, the lake a black mirror below us. When I turned back toward the house, someone else was standing in the doorway. Red dress. Loose dark hair. A face I recognized from a grainy photo clenched in my hand 3 weeks earlier. She smiled, slow and confident. "Hi, Nora," she said. "It's so good to finally meet you." Ethan didn't look surprised. My stomach shot to my feet. "Rebecca," he said. "Come join us." She walked toward us, heels clicking on the wooden boards, every step measured. "This is Rebecca Hale," Ethan said. "PR, crisis management, and occasionally other services." She held out a hand. I didn't take it. "Oh, come on," she said lightly. "You didn't think you were the only woman in the world smart enough for him, did you?" I looked at Ethan. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He watched me, curious, like I was part of an experiment. "What is this?" I asked. "This," Rebecca said, "is an intervention." She pulled a folder from behind her back and set it on the deck table. "For you," she added. "Before things get ugly." The folder was thin, only a few pages. I didn't touch it. "Go on," Ethan said. "Humor us." I opened it. Printouts. Screenshots. Snippets of code. All of them pointed to one conclusion: that I had accessed internal systems without authorization. That I'd copied restricted files. That I'd contacted a government prosecutor. "I'm impressed," Rebecca said. "Most people in your position just cry and drink too much wine." My heart thudded against my ribs. "You've been watching me," I said. "Of course," she replied. "You're the one piece on the board we didn't control yet." Ethan stepped closer. "Nora," he said softly, "we can fix this. You've made some mistakes. You let someone get into your head. But we can recover. If you're willing to be smart about it." "If I'm willing to fall on the grenade," I said. "Not fall," Rebecca said. "Lean. Take a plea. Say you acted alone, that you were under pressure, that you hid things from poor Ethan here. He plays the grieving fiancé. Maybe he pays a fine. Maybe he steps back from the firm for a while. Out of the spotlight. And I go to prison," I said. "No," Ethan said quickly. "Minimum security. Club fed. 18 months with good behavior. You read books, you work out, you come back. I'll be waiting. We rebuild." He said it so calmly, as if we were discussing a delayed vacation. "You burned my life down," I whispered. "And now you want me to bury the ashes for you?" He held up his hands, as if soothing a nervous client. "This isn't personal," he said. "This is strategy. You were always good at strategy." Rebecca leaned on the railing, smiling. "Besides," she added, "the alternative is messy." The meaning sank in. A remote house. A dark lake. Slippery steps. An accident. "Nobody would question it," she said. "Bride-to-be under too much pressure. Firm in crisis. People break, Nora. You know that." I heard Priya's warning in my head. Cornered men. Violence. I looked at Ethan. "Is that what you brought me here for?" I asked. "A choice between prison and death?" His jaw tightened. "I brought you here," he said, "to see if you were still on my side." I laughed. It sounded wrong in the cool night air. "You never wanted me on your side," I said. "You wanted me under your thumb." He stepped forward, closing the distance between us. "Last chance," he said softly. "Pick up the pen. Sign the statement. We can still fix this." Rebecca slid a single page from the folder. Confession, pre-written, neat as a death warrant. I stared at the papers. Then I smiled. "Okay," I said. "Let's talk about fixing things." I reached out, not for the pen, but for the folder. My fingers brushed the corner, and I accidentally knocked the glass of wine beside it. The deep red spilled across the page, soaking the confession. "Oh God," I said. "I'm so sorry." Rebecca cursed, grabbing for napkins. Ethan stepped back, away from the spreading stain. While their attention dropped to the table, I palmed the recorder from my pocket and set it underneath, pressing it flat against the wood. Have you enjoyed this story so far? Go to part 2 for the conclusion.